What's happening, guys? Evan TechSource. Welcome to Setup Wars episode 210. You know what that means. It's time for me to roast more setups, which is everyone's favorite because let's face it, it makes them feel a lot better about their own setups. Please don't take anything I say in this video seriously. It is done for entertainment reasons, as always. And also the person with the worst setup will take home $200 this time around because we're going to be featuring 10 setups instead of 5, and you guys get to vote. So with that said, sit back and relax because it's time for Setup Wars. Guys, if you're a content creator or if you're interested in becoming one, then you're gonna love today's sponsor, Filmora Go. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of the editing app Filmora 9 on PC, but did you know that there is an app for it? That's right, Filmora Go is a free app that you can use to edit videos anywhere from your phone. You get access to free music, effects, filters, and more to create your videos. And recently, they added support for landscape videos as well. It's the perfect app for beginners because it's super user-friendly and easy to learn. It is available for both iOS and Android, and it's free to use. So click the link below to try it out yourself. All right, starting off the show is Aiden from Mississippi and what appears to be some type of punishment corner. Like if you misbehave at home, this is where your parents will send you for a few hours until you learn your lesson. Oh, you know what? Never mind. It's actually a room with a TV and a couch setup as well. I'm not sure who your interior designer is, but you gotta fire that person and find someone else because the red walls just makes it seem like you're in Satan's butt cheeks. I love that he has this cross thingy hanging from his doorknob, but I'm sorry to say, Aiden, but Jesus can't save you or your setup. He's not even using a real desk. It looks like he stole his grandmother's nightstand. By the way, do your parents know that you're borrowing their Christmas lights to add RGB to your setup? I find it interesting that you're using green tape out of all the tape colors that you can possibly use to attach the Christmas lights to your setup. Like, why not use, I don't know, regular black tape or clear tape so it doesn't stick out as much? I mean, he even added green tape to some of the keys on the keyboard. I just noticed the Christmas lights start at the setup and go across the curtains to the other side of the room. There's even a wall PC that he built, and this is so random that I don't even have words to describe the reasoning behind this. First off, there is no power supply, so I'm assuming this is done for display reasons. But why in Neptune's 7th moon is there a picture of a turtle and a Hot Wheels collectible of one of the most boring cars I have ever seen? So many questions, not enough answers. This is quite possibly the most bizarre setup I've ever seen on the show so far. The only thing I like about the setup is the custom-made tablet stand that you made out of Legos. Maybe you'll have better luck winning the Lego edition of Setup Wars, but you know what? My eyes have bled enough from this. Let's move on. Next up is Adrian and what appears to be a poorly executed setup. So the only reason I'm going to keep this submission is because of the poor choices he made throughout the setup. He built everything on top of such a tiny desk, and that was by choice because look at how much room he has to work with. He could have easily picked up a wider desk. On top of that, he went with 2 power strips for some odd reason when he could have easily picked up one long one and consolidated all of the plugs. And finally, not a single poop was given for cable management. I think you need to swap out the piece of wood on the wall that says blessed with something else that says disgraced. I think Mickey Mouse's reaction pretty much sums up how I feel about this whole setup. All right, who's next? Alfie. Alfie, let's see what you got. I think you mistaken Setup Wars for Dumpster Wars. That's a different show. I don't run that YouTube channel, by the way. Oh, he wrote hello Setup Wars on one of the monitors, so I guess it wasn't a mistake. Jesus Christ, what am I even looking at? Like, oh my God. This one is too much, I'm sorry. There is so much crap under the desk that I think it's starting its own ecosystem. I wouldn't be surprised if there are rats mating underneath that pile of cables. Alfie, my dude, did you miss the trash can? It's literally right next to you. I find it quite fascinating that the trash can is more clean than the actual setup. I don't know what other bad life decisions you have made in the past, but going with a white table was definitely one of them. If you can't maintain or clean your setup, you should have went with a darker color so that dirt is not that visible. I just noticed the loot llama he has on the desk. Of course he's a Fortnite player. What other gamer would have a messy setup like this? Let's be honest here. Alfie, I think you might have to replace both of those glasses and get a new pair because I don't think you're seeing what we're seeing. I could roast this setup for the rest of the episode, to be honest. I'm finding something new on every picture. Surprisingly though, the PC is actually cleaner than the rest of the setup. Let's see what specs it's got. So it looks like we have an i5-6400 and the RX 480 from Sapphire and 8 gigs of RAM. Honestly, that is the only good thing about your setup. I mean, it just needs a really good cleaning. Personally, I would hire a maid to do it in a hazmat suit, preferably, because if you were to clean it yourself, you would probably contract some disease. I hope you guys are still with me. This is as excruciating for me to do as it is for you to watch, so hang in there. All right, Anthony is up next from Manila, Philippines, and this is the setup he uses for gaming and schoolwork. I can't tell if that's styrofoam from packaging or a cooler that he used as a desk. I mean, either way, it's too small for the keyboard and mouse. The mouse pad is practically hanging from the side. How are you gonna play Fortnite with that much mouse space? At first, I thought he was a part of the floor gang, but he actually has a chair, a stool rather, that he sits on, which can't possibly be good for his back given the height. He has to kind of be hunched over the entire time gaming. He's also using styrofoam to keep the PC off the ground. What a genius idea. And the PC doesn't even look half bad. We got the Ryzen 3 3200G in here with 8 gigs of RAM. Looks like no GPU, so it's running on the integrated graphics card from the CPU. But you did make sure to get a lot of RGB fans, so that's always good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 RGB fans. I always say spend that extra money on RGB rather than the GPU. It's the most sensible thing you could do. I don't even know where this setup is, to be honest. It doesn't look like it's in your home. It kind of looks like you're in someone's shed. That also explains the metal stool you're using. Also, I don't know what that empty bottle is doing next to your setup, but I hope it's not a portable toilet. Anthony says in the notes that he is saving to buy a desk. Well, I hope you win this episode. That way you can use the $100 towards a new desk. Thank you for entering. All right, Arya is up next from Canada, and this is the setup he uses for gaming and chatting. That probably explains the camping chair. I've never heard of a setup used for chatting. What type of chatting are we talking about? Like Discord, Skype, or are we talking about video chatting on chat roulette? Either way, it's interesting. It's interesting to say that. So naturally, my first question has to do with the cables going across the room. I don't know if you're trying to set up a hammock or what, but that can't be safe, especially since there is a door right behind it. What if you pissed off your dad and he's running up the stairs with the belt in his hand, ready to wail on you, right? And then he opens the door and rushes through it and trips over the cable. Oh, that's why you did it. So it's more like a Home Alone trap that you set up. Okay, I get it. I'm also curious why you have those foil sheets on the floor. Is that to protect yourself against aliens? There's just a lot of weird things happening in this room that my puny brain can't comprehend. So I'm just gonna move on to the next setup. Ben is up next from what appears to be the Linus Tech Tips warehouse. He's got it all, ladies and gentlemen, a treadmill, an exercise bike to get that cardio in, and one of those reflex punching bags in the back, probably to cool off after getting clapped on Fortnite from a 10-year-old. I do see a controller, but no PC for some reason. Oh, that's why. He's using a PS4. I mean, the setup itself isn't the worst I've seen, but I'm definitely worried about the location. It feels like they locked Ben up in the garage or something. There are even pipes running alongside the wall and behind your setup. Should I be worried? Ben, if you're watching this video and you need help escaping, comment down below, #helpmeplease. I will come to the rescue. Unless you're playing Fortnite, then you're on your own. This is cute. This is actually adorable. My little sister used one of these tables for her tea parties before. I knew I recognized it from somewhere. This looks like a setup straight out of preschool. I wouldn't be surprised if they are selling this on Fisher Price. The keyboard is almost as wide as the table and the mouse pad is hanging on for dear life. There is no more space for activities. And of course, he's playing Minecraft. What was I expecting? You know what though? I will give Bilal some credit for at least trying to cable manage. He put an effort to wrap the wires around the legs. So I will give you an A. An A for awful. All right, Colton is up next from the Philippines. And whoa, a triple monitor setup. What is this doing on worst setup edition? Oh no. No, no. My man Colton is rocking 3 displays that's hooked up to his Chromebook. Let me repeat this, all right? We have two 24-inch 144 Hz gaming monitors, according to the notes, and a 32-inch 720p TV up top, hooked up to his Chromebook. Not a laptop, a Chromebook. I'm just trying to figure out what possessed him to make this decision. Like, in what parallel universe would you need to buy 244 Hz gaming monitors without having a decent PC or even a laptop, for that matter, that can't even push those pixels and refresh rates? The entire top half of the setup is looking awesome, and then you look down and you see this dinky little Chromebook. It's so disproportionate. You got Larry the Lobster up top and SpongeBob's legs on the bottom. This setup is looking like it skipped leg day. If this setup were a person, it would be this dude over here. Everything else about the setup is good. I really like how he kept everything symmetrical and organized. It even has a bit of personality. You know, if empty Mountain Dew bottles and a Donald Trump figurine doesn't give your setup a personality, then I don't know what will. Although I would probably hang the rifle a little higher to the left because it's being blocked off by the left monitor. Honestly, the only thing missing from this setup is a decent PC and some common sense. Thank you, Colton, for entering. All right, this next setup belongs to Corey from the US. Represent, baby, let's go. So apparently he is a giraffe in disguise because I can't seem to figure out why in Zeus's butt cheeks he mounted that TV so up high from the desk. You know what, I did some research and I found the owner of this setup. This is Corey in real life, which makes sense why the TV is up so high. I don't know why, but I feel like I've shown this setup before on the show, but I can't remember which episode, or maybe it's deja vu. Maybe you guys can let me know in the comment section if it was featured before. All right, back to the setup. So the TV isn't even mounted right. You can clearly see the mount sticking out from the left side. There are so many questionable choices here, like why did you put the PC on the floor when you have so much space on the desk? And why did you bother wrapping up those cables under the consoles if you're not gonna do any cable management for the rest of the wires underneath the TV? I have seen better cable management on The Verge. He even added a power strip under the desk. Like, what's the point? It's like using a bucket to dump the water out of a sinking ship. It's already too late. I mean, at least he added some RGB in the back. I guess it does look a lot better now. Thank God this episode is almost over. We are down to our last contestant, Joe from Massachusetts. Please be a decent setup. Are you guys seeing what I'm seeing? Maybe I already went blind from the last 9 setups, but it looks to me that Joe is using 2 other tables to hold up his main table. He is, isn't he? Yep, that's what it says in the notes. There are 2 side tables for the stands and half of an old dining room table for the main part. What in Medusa's cooch is going on here? I will tell you one thing for sure. If we ever host a Jenga tournament, I want Joe to be on my team. Just look at the engineering that went into keeping the table so parallel to the floor. He even used a ruler as a headphone hanger. I'm actually impressed. It looks like he used a few iPhone boxes as well to keep the table nice and even. So that's where most of the setup's money went to. iPhones. Unfortunately, he did this in exchange for legroom. There is absolutely no legroom left. Also, that Xbox is probably overheating since you covered all of the exhaust ports. Look at the bright side, Joe. If you ever have a lot of guests coming over for the holidays, you can borrow some of the tables from your setup. Thank you for entering. So yeah, that was fun. But ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to vote on the worst setup that you've seen out of the 10. Which of these deserves to take home the $200? I'll be posting a link to my community tab where the voting will take place. So make sure to click on that and cast your vote there. If you guys enjoyed the video or the roasting, consider leaving a like and make sure to subscribe because we roast setups here on the channel every 10 episodes. Thanks so much for watching and I'll see you very soon in the next one.